Hi, this is Dark Farmer here with Raidmasters Confrontation. Raidmasters is a hero map where you control 5 heroes at a time, fighting your way through a series of battles with non-player controlled mobs. You compete against one other player who's fighting through a course of mobs just like yours, and the objective is to defeat the boss at the end of the course. In Raidmasters, you choose a party of 5 heroes selected from the 9 classes available in World of Warcraft. Each class has its own role, such as tank, damage dealer, or healer. First you choose the party leader, who will absorb most of the damage. Then you select a healer. Then you can choose 3 different classes of whatever you want. After choosing classes, you pick abilities. Each class has unique abilities to allow you to further customize your party. Part of the challenge and fun of Raidmasters is experimenting with different combinations of abilities and classes and equipment that work best and suit your playstyle the most. Before we get started, I'm going to run through the map to show you what lies ahead. First, there are 3 groups of treants, and then the first town. Each town has a shop and a way gate to a dungeon, which I will explain later. Now we come to a fork in the road, where you can choose to fight a large group of weaker mobs, or a small group of stronger mobs. This is important because some party builds are better at crowd control, while others are better at very strong individual foes. Now we come to the second town, which is defended by a group of bandits, and then another fork in the road with a similar decision. Strong group of individuals, and then a large group of slightly weaker. After the third town, with its own group of bandits, is 2 strong groups of fell orcs, and then the final way gate, which takes us to the final dungeon and the boss, and the end of the game when this boss is killed. It should be noted now that your opponent's lane contains exactly the same mobs as yours, although his terrain is different. Now we reach the first town. The shops contain items which allow you to further customize your party. For example, you might want to buy armor to make your warrior have more hit points, weapons to add damage to your damage dealers, or spellbooks to increase the mana regeneration rate of your casters. Also, potions are available to add extra hit points and mana in emergency situations. Each town also contains a dungeon, which is one of the most critical parts of the game. The dungeon allows you to grind up extra gold and experience to give you an edge over your opponent. What's interesting though is that both opponents use the same dungeon. In each dungeon, there are 3 monster generators which create a limitless stream of enemies as long as there are heroes present in the dungeon. To clear the dungeon, you have to destroy all 3 generators. It's up to you to decide when and how to destroy the generators. If you leave more generators up longer, you'll end up with more monsters to fight, which will mean you'll get more experience and gold, but it also means that you're going to be at greater risk of losing control of the dungeon. Also again, the opponent uses the same dungeon, so at any time your opponent could beam into the dungeon and you could have a player versus player battle on your hands. After the dungeon's cleared, both players are beamed back to their respective towns. It's worth noting as well that the last dungeon in the game, where the boss is the same idea, except that the winner of the game isn't whoever gets the killing blow on the boss. There's a scoring system called demon kill points based on how many of his mobs you kill, how much damage you do to him, and also if you get the killing blow, or if you're the first person in the dungeon. These points are tallied at the end of the game to determine the winner. That's basically it. Download it, play it, have a good time, and see you on Battle.net.